Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. How was your day? How are you doing? What's going on in your life? Is everything okay where you are? I know California is having the worst fires they ever had. Hawaii is having a lot of fires as well right now, as well as the volcano going off. Don't know what to say about how far this lava is going out into the ocean, but it is creating an island under the water right now. It could be anywhere from 7 to 70 miles. I don't know if they'll ever tell us, unless you could go out there and dive around there and stuff, but it's too dangerous. So, outside of that, we have so many other things going on with crime and abuse. And is anybody looking at the world right now? How many people are going through happy days? It was a great song when it came out. I think it was President Kennedy's song, Happy Days Are Here Again. What are we doing? Where are we going? Are we prepared for anything? So, what I want to get into today, and it's going to be a little hardcore. Most people don't go into it, don't want to, don't care to, don't want people to know the truth about it. Rather keep feeding them stories which people like, stories that make them feel good for a little while. Go to any meeting, go to any conference. You'll feel good for 2 or 3 days. It kind of goes home with you. All that excess energy that bombards you and that you accept. So, I used to go to them a lot. I used to be somebody's bodyguard. So I used to go to the Whole Life, New Life Expos all the time. Did a couple UFO conferences along my way, which was fun doing them with Sergeant 18. Meet lots of people, meet lots of crazy people, lots of weird people, and you name it. So what I'm going to ask you, I don't know how old you are, but whatever it is, base your life on the life expectancy of a human. The maximum is 125 years. So if you live to that, it would be great. Very few people live to 100. And then even more people leave before they're 80. So thinking of how much time you have, even if you live to be 80, 85, that's not a lot of time. Because after your late 60s, which I'm in, it's kind of a lot harder to do a lot of things. Sure, you could be in perfect health trying to do things, but the money situation changes because you're probably not working. And you're on a lot less money than you used to make. And if you're lucky enough to have saved, you can start using that money. That's great. But basically it becomes down to how much money did you make. So hopefully you're not in that place. Hopefully you're still young enough to work, get what you need in life. Think about it, because there's multiple things you need to think about. Obviously, when you're going to get married, all those things you should talk about before you get married, because you don't want to bring any surprises into a relationship. None whatsoever. You don't want a surprise situation to pop up which will tear the relationship apart. Put all the things on the table. Every fact, every idea, what you want, what you don't want. If you can line them up together and agree on it and say we'll both accept it 100%, then you got something to start with. So, but for you yourself as an individual, which we all are, what do you think about? What's your goals? What's your desires? To have children, not to have children, to be rich, to have a business. I mean, how many people talk about being spiritual, understand what it means, trying to become that, trying to understand it? The other word is like death. How many people talk about death, want to understand it? Words people do talk about, which is one of the words we're going to get into mainly at the start, that word called heaven. Heaven is a word that most people like. Sure they do. Because it's a programmed idea. Greetings. Glad you tuned in. People like that word heaven. It's a place to go. It's going to be great because you'll see all the people that left, all your family, and what do you do when you're there? So hold that thought. We're going to go into that in detail. But what religion do you follow? What path do you follow? What ideas do you take in your life? Do you believe in God or don't you? Whatever you want to do, as far as that goes, you got to plan it now, think about it, and work on it. Do you think you're going to be spiritual when you die? Or when you get old? Just because you're old, you can become spiritual? You're going to have all the awareness and truth right there because everybody told you what it was? People live in a kind of such a programmed idea of reality. The dreams are important. We'll go into that as well. But death, what does death mean to you? What did birth mean to you? What do you accept from it? What do you hold on to from it? Do you take anything? It had to be born and blah, blah, blah. Well, all of it needs to be figured out, understood, and put into a place where you know the reason why. Not because the government said so, not because the Bible said so, not because somebody's hand-carved tablets said so, not because there's 10 million books written on it. Sadly, which I noticed, and it's just the way life is here on planet Earth, most people take original thought or idea, whatever that is, like we're all supposed to be happy, we're all supposed to have a family, or whatever, the original ideas, and create the scenario from that. So basically, everybody's taking what they believe in from the original scenario of what was programmed to them in the first place. Or you should have 2 children, you should have at least 2 children, you should have children. I mean, that thought. Then you should have a home, you should have a car, you should get a good job. That's all the programmed ideas that everybody rides on. So when they teach, preach, or whatever they're going to do to you is going to make you think that's what you need to get and you should have them. Even religious. One of the richest religionists in the United States, preacher, they just said he's worth how many billions of dollars? But what do we do when you get money? Spend it, buy more things. So it has nothing to do with spiritual truth. You cannot buy it. I mean, the people that charge great amount of money to hear them speak, I promise you, you're not going to get much from it. The more you pay, the less you're going to get. Because if they're that sick to charge you that much money, they're not going to be dealing with anything spiritual in the first place. So when we move along in this path, and I put, do you believe in God? Do you believe in heaven? Do you believe in hell? Where do you think you're going within those three? Do you think you're non-existent when you die and you go into nothing? It's people believe it. People accept that idea as well. Why? Well, we can't prove God, so I don't want to believe in anything. Well, how much do you try to prove something? Because if there's anything in your life, and like I tell people, including people listening right now, when you practice an exercise or do something, you have to keep doing it. You got to put your trust and faith into you that you can do it, and know that you will eventually. And then Spirit will fill it when it realizes or decides you deserve what you're asking for. I mean, if everybody went out there and asked to become super spiritual, how many do you think would? Because they asked? No, it's a lot of work. It's called balancing out your karma and working from that level. So, all those people that, I just told somebody this the other day. Soupy Sales, comedian, TV show for kids, said to everybody out there, if you're listening to me and you like me, send me some money. And then he got lots of kids sending him money. And then he was thrown off the air. So, when you ask for things, but when you're a religious person, spiritual person, quote, by your own ego, and you ask for those things, why do you ask for them? Well, I got to make a living. Well, make a living, but also give the truth out for free. The truth is free. Your ego is not. Charge them for your ego. I'll tell you what I believe, and then charge them for that. But don't charge them for the truth, because it's not yours. Nobody owns the truth. Nobody should be selling it. So we got lots of people following 2,000 different paths. Sure, there's three main ones, and then they get littler and littler as we go down in numbers. One religion I was in had a couple million followers when I was in it. One path I was following had thousands in it. So, numbers really don't determine how important the path is. And I'll say this, anybody listening, please, you're never going to hear this again. In Jesus' own words, he said, the most spiritual path will have the least followers. Because when you search for truth, it becomes individualized. And you're not going to be going with hundreds of people to see it. So, I just pulled up my chat room, my Skype room. So, when you plan your ideas and you work at it, it's not with everybody else. So when you go to these conferences and workshops and you're sitting with 2,000 people, 3,000 people, 200 people, it's not like you're all working together. Everyone in there is at a certain level of awareness. If you did a percentage from 1 to 1,000, some are at 1, some are at 80, some are at 2,000, meaning they're beyond it. But very few ever get beyond the max, or what the supposed max is. Because it's like high school. You have to have a certain grade, pass a certain level to graduate. If you're beyond it, do you even need to be in the school? Of course not. So, when we talk about ourselves, and it's not an egotistical viewpoint when you say yourself. You are separate. You're different than every other soul on this planet. You have different ideas. You react different to every idea that you hear. And what you say is probably different than what anybody else is going to say. Sure, there's fine lines where it crosses, oh, that was close to what I said, and that's close to what I believe. Close isn't the exact same thing. If two people say, I